Hello, everyone, and welcome back to West of Loathing. So we've moved even further west, but now we've got a ravine in our way. So we got some exploring to do. You encounter a goblin wearing a battered cowboy hat, 2 large spurs, and a rusty sheriff's badge. It seems extremely excited to have spotted you, though it tries to put on a stern face that can't mask its glee. Freezing, crimes doer! You're underneath arrest. What? Why? What did I doing? Crimes! You so much criming! I never am criming! Telling it at a judge, crimes doer. Talk to it. What makes you saying I'm a crimer? Well, looking at you. Looking at all this criming. Fight 'em. Yeah, boy. Reboot now. Am I forgetting about anything? Reboot Hill. Don't worry, it's just paint. Oh no, paint! Ah! Plot number 1. You see the ghost of an elderly woman holding flowers. She seems lost and depressed, above and beyond what's expected for a ghost. Howdy, ma'am. Is there something I can help you with? Oh, what's so awful? I can't remember at all. Let's start at the beginning, okay? Well, you see, I have 4 daughters. They married 4 brothers, the Smith boys, and after that they each had 5 daughters of their own. Unfortunately, I outlived every one of the 24 of them. You know you're a ghost, right? Oh yes, in fact, I died here in this graveyard, where they're all buried. I came to visit them, and I suppose my poor old heart finally gave out. That's not the problem, though. 95 years is a pretty good run, after all. So what did you forget? I brought this bouquet of flowers to put on my favorite granddaughter's grave, but I can't remember which of them was my favorite. I'm so ashamed, and I can't bear to leave until I've remembered. I see. Well, maybe I can help you figure it out. Oh, thank you. I'd appreciate that ever so much. No problem, ma'am. You remember anything about your granddaughter? Well, I'm quite certain her first name ended in a vowel. Okay, anything else? I remember I was 40 when she was born. Oh no, 37, or was it 42? It must have been somewhere in that range at least. Anything else? Oh, her first name was longer than her last, just like mine. Remember that she wasn't buried next to any of my daughters. She sniffed a little. Past the same age as poor Becky, who was always in such ill health. Oh, her favorite hobby was knitting. She starts to sob. She knit me a lovely sweater from Crimbo just the year before she died. That's all I can remember. Knitting. Okay then. Hang on, let me think a moment. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, dearie, I'll be here. The penultimate Becky Smith. First Becky Smith, Fiona Smith. Oh, God. You uncover a coffin that was apparently delivered by mail. Because it still has the address printed on it. Either that or this was a joke about somebody going to Hellstrom Ranch after they die. Billy Spider McKinley turned out to be way more than one. Wise old Jed Marmot, 1706 to 1770. This time the bar ate him. Peggy Immortal. Kind of ironic. Big Bob Hurlingham. Gone to the big pie eating contest in the sky. Biff Bunkerston. He was a real buttface. Snidely Crandallsworth. He was sort of like a Benjamin Button kind of thing. 1800 to 17. Annette Centabomb. Tried to eat her way out of a bear. Plain Willie hates. Really is gonna hate this burial thing. Buck Jeansley. Nobody ever saw a man die that way before. I think I know who she was. Granny's face lights up as you nervously glance at the tombstones behind her. Did her name start with, P? Granny's eyebrows raised. Hopefully, was it, Trisha? Oh no, it wasn't her. Oh, I'll never remember. I'm sorry. I thank you for trying, but please leave me alone with my grief. Granny Smith is too despondent to speak to you right now. Maybe she'll be over it by tomorrow. Looks like there's a whole gang buried here. Oh, God. Thank you, Alice. Here lie the sweet gang. May they never wake up. Take the sword. Pluck the sword from the stone. Now you're royalty. I got a sweet sword. Shank Weems. We're reasonably sure he's dead. Adam Lomolda. They got him coming and going. Oh, it's an anagram. Or, the palindrome. That's Dink Scotch Turkinson. Drowned in a whiskey barrel. It's what he would have wanted. Old Dead Tom. Took us kind of a long time to get around to this. Red Deeps. I don't remember the rhyme about which snakes are poisonous. Gerald Flens died as he lived, screaming. Annette Jangle, first lady bicyclist to ride off a cliff. Lavender Crinks, inventor of the external combustion engine. Who has a picnic? Who has a picnic in a graveyard? Wait, Vernon Pensacord, professional quote-unquote sword swallower. Dynamite Jim Fresca, all the bits we could find. This tombstone is big and fancy and has a door on the front. Open it. Inside there's a document and a weird little metal object. Read it. The document describes the Tontine, the burial wishes of Chet Bustersley in a weird sequence of letters. ETL-ITR. Inside the... Take the object. Tombstone is big and faint. Still yet further in. Xavier J. Hornhog ran for mayor, right off a cliff. Gina Slapradish ate too many wasps. Lucky Vinnie Pike was bound to run out 1864 to blank. Bound to run out sooner or later. Hazel Batchley embroidered herself to death. That one guy. You know the one. Yeah, him. Red Haggins, the most strikingly rat-faced man any of us had ever seen. Stanrietta Minkleston tried to eat a live eagle on a dare. The skeleton doesn't seem particularly threatening, apart from being a general reminder of no mortality. Hello? Who are you? My name's Bernard. Shh. Lower your voice. They'll hear us. Who, the cultist? Shh. Yes. Not a fan? They're reanimating dead people's skeletons. I don't want to be reanimated. It sounds horrible. You imagine having to walk around without your skin on? How embarrassing, not to mention cold. Sure. Well, plus, I mean, dying's hard enough. Who wants to come back to life just when you've got used to being dead, right? I can see that. Please, can you do something? I don't want them to fight me. Okay, I'll let you know when it's safe. Great, thanks. I'll just hang back here until the coast is clear. Ooh. Paulette Tootsberry. Died of disease we don't have a name for yet. Perletta Fink. Territorial scoffing champion. You're not going to get past this barrier of whirling bones without, well, making it so there's no barrier of whirling bones here anymore. Dispel them. Your mystical prowess makes short work of the flimsy magic holding these bones together. Susan Boingstrom, buried with her treasured collection of dog ears. Cultists look like they're barely maintaining control over that skeleton. Interrupt their ritual. You throw a rock at the skeleton, which instantly explodes. Wow, that must have been a real high-energy ritual they were doing. You jerk, we were using that skeleton. You guys are jerks for using the skeleton in the first place. Why, I oughta fight. Oh, god damn it. Victory. You wreck whatever foul sorcery they were trying to accomplish here, and then you wreck their lives by ending them. Fed room. Nothing left but boots and teeth. There's a black book on a pedestal here. Take it. You got an item. Frightening topics and next snacks. Peninsula Wackersley. Nice lady, but a really unfortunate name. Hastily constructed, very shallow privy. Investigate. You open the door and dig around in the detritus. There's a little slip of pink paper here. Discipline slip. Read over the infraction listed on this slip. Looks like one of the cultists was gathering dangerous mushrooms. Curious. Stick the slip into your journal. You should check that out. Nothing in here but 3 bedrolls and a single stale smell. I took care of them already. Great. Whew. That's a load off my mind, let me tell you. Here, you can have this worry stone. I don't need it now. Cool, thanks. These crudely stitched pants are solid, but boy, are they not fashionable. These boots are made for riding, but not the kind of riding you're probably thinking of. perhaps. This is kind of hood that minions and the necromancer might wear, or you could wear it, I guess, now that you've got it. Great Garbanzo's hideout. Fort Memoriam. Continue where we were headed. Great Garbanzo, eh? Ever hear of him? I vaguely recall hearing the name. He's a famous bean slinger, I guess. I don't pay much attention to that mystical stuff. It ain't my field. I see. I can tell you a fellow that lives in a cave is probably not the most stable of fellas. Sign says keep out, unless you are the Great Garbanzo. Most of these books are too fragile to touch, but there's one that looks like it's in decent shape. Grab it. Beans Illustrated. A revolting sofa. Search it. Find some loose beans in the cushions. You got an item. All-purpose beans. You don't have the foggiest idea how this oven works. It requires master cookery to use. Great Garbanzo's bed under the pillow. It wasn't a pillow at all, but a bag of beans. All-purpose bean strips. Memorizing each and every recipe. Unfortunately, the book was so fragile that your close reading caused it to crumble to dust. Oh well. Sense a deposit of bean iron. Mine it. Approach the arcane oven and prepare to ply your mystical trade. Forge some bean iron cookware. You could contemplate your skills and the materials you have on hand. You can make something out of some bean iron. Mind reaches into the bean iron to see what shapes it conceals. Check 3. Spatula, skillet, or a badge. Spatula. You squeeze the bean iron into the shape you desire. More complicated than that, obviously, but that's what it looks like. Contemplate your skills and the materials you have on hand. Nothing left. Cook something simple. You approach the arcane oven and prepare to ply your mystical trade. Gaze at the all-purpose beans and imagine the things you can make with them. Black beans. Soften the beans in the boiling water of your mind and season them with the exotic spices of your will. Can't eat that because you're already too full. Wasn't there something? You see a campfire near the trail and turn off, let your horse rest a bit. Campfire's owner offers you a cup of coffee and suggests a round of or two of poker while it boils. You can tell from looking in his eyes that he's playing cheap. So were you, so it's probably fine. You're rich for my blood. Alright, you look around back and I'll see if there's any trace of that necromancer. I'll cover our backs. Oh, God. You know a town's gone to pot when the horses have drunk. Well, here's a little town that's seen better days. Probably an old mining town. Mine dries up, town dries up. Bet you could get a house real cheap, though. Sure, if you don't mind a commute measured in days. Breadwood Mayor. Howdy, Mayor. I'm Docker, here on behalf of the Manifest Destiny Railroad Company. We need to build a bridge in a hurry, so I'm here to cut the deal with you for the lumber. Alright, I believe we can scrape together that much wood. What sort of down payment are you offering? Oh, I sort of expected you would just bill us? You want that much lumber with no payment up front? Are you serious? I could probably offer you free train rides? I do enjoy a nice train ride, but that deal would be a real problem, and I've already got 7 problems to worry about. Oh. Mayor glances at the list of problems posted on the wall and paces around nervously. Offer to help with his problems. Maybe I could help with some of your problems? Oh, thank you. I'd certainly welcome any assistance you can offer. Look at the problems board. Glance at the problems board, which offers a selection of current issues as well as a dire warning. Which problem do you want to offer help with? The missing mail. Our last batch of mail never got here. We don't know if something happened to the mailman or what. Go talk to Reginald in the bunkhouse. He used to be a mailman, so we can tell you where to start your search. You got it. Breadwood's bank was apparently small enough to fail. Breadwood's currently absent supply of militia yeast. Soup kitchen is bereft of soup. Breadwood's meager selection of library books. This table has no mail on it. Read the list of Breadwood's problems. Missing mail. The last batch of mail never made it here. Overdue book. One of the library's 4 books was checked out and never turned back in. Stalled logging permit. Whole swaths of forest are still standing and we can't chop them down. Soup shortage. Town's soup kitchen doesn't have any soup in it. Skeletons everywhere. Skeletons keep wandering into town and poking people in the eye. Missing yeast. The town's entire stock of yeast was stolen by the Yeasty gang. Oh, you didn't go with the Yeasty boys? Robbed bread bank. The town's bake was cleaned out by the Baker boys. Note, last time a mayor let this list get over 3 items, we chased him out of town with his breadstick nailed to the top of his head. Yikes. The buttery biscuit. Howdy. Well, looks like some poor son of a biscuit wandered into town. Howdy, cake sucker. Wow, geez, rude and baffling. Get used to it. We like our cuss in here in Breadwood. Sure, fine, but cake sucker? We also like our breads and bread-related products, so I've noticed. Buy a drink. The bartender pours a shot of something and slaps it on the bar in front of you. I don't get to choose? No. Well, thanks. You want anything? Thanks, but I've got it covered. Anyway, you could raise fish in the whiskey they serve in places like this. Ha! Don't be this guy. This guy is grimly washing dishes. He notices you looking and waves you away, irritated. Probably dangerous to interrupt this. There's a note on it that says, see bartender for darts. Just 2 old friends, reminiscing about good times and occasionally showing one another their guns in a non-threatening way. What are these guys up to? Ask them. The man with the black hat has a huge pile of meat in front of him. The man with the white hat looks broke and sad. What you playing, fellas? Pharaoh, but I wouldn't say we're playing. I'd say we did play until this cowpoke ran out of money. The man in the white hat grumbles. How does it work? It's easy. You bet 50 meat, and then you name as many pharaohs as you can. Every time you name one, I give you 20 meat. Wait, what? If those are the rules, how did this guy lose all of his meat to you? He's real bad at it. I'll give it a try. Alright, partner, start naming pharaohs. Tutankhamun. Well, everybody knows that one. What else you got? Uh-oh. You don't actually know the names of any more pharaohs. Maybe you can get away with just making some up? Oh, I got one. Gebdumdumtris. He grumbles and hands you your winnings. That's all I got. Come back anytime. Tutankhamun. Denath Popguri. Hababoshotep. Metamath Petra? That's all I got. The man in the white hat scowls. Tables closed. Get lost. It's a post. Trade with it. Ooh, blank postcard. This is a blank postcard. Maybe you should write to your family back home. In case you don't know how the mail works, you send these by going to a building called a post office, giving it to the correspondence wizard who works there. Mind your meat. Read the book from cover to cover and learn, among other things, that its cover price is way too high. You got a skill. Decorate. After you're done reading it, you use your newfound skills to pawn it off on a wide-eyed rube for 60 meat. Advanced Beancraft Volume 15. This is a cookbook. Cookbook! Specializing in bean recipes. Use old bean. Butter bean. Let's learn butter bean. Study the combination of beans and butter until you've mastered every aspect of it. Unfortunately, a lot of butter got splattered onto the book while you were practicing, and now it's totally illegible. It says IOU 1 parentheses 1 piano. Still mad about losing. I don't leave it alone. This is a spittoon, and an unusually full one. Probably best to leave it alone. Oh, you better believe we're going in. Take a closer look. Look. This isn't Mom and Pop's family fun time saloon. This is a dive bar in a dive town. The people who drink in here are mainly drifters and desperados. Don't go splashing around in the literal scum of the earth. I'm gonna. Seriously, don't. This is wrong and disgusting. It is vile behavior. I have my face right up to the thing. What's it look like? No, I'm not telling you. Why are you doing this to me? No, I've got my hand right in there, splashing around. La 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 la, I'm not listening. You find nothing. You are the worst person in the world. Ah, I found something all right. Like a necrotic skin disorder, I bet. Actually, it's a pair of boots. So there, Mr. Delicate Stomach. Boots. Great. Boots full of bandit spit. I hope they have to invent a whole new kind of trench foot just for you. I hope they name it after you. You're just jealous of my sweet new boots. Oh. These boots have been rendered extremely flexible by dint of months spent soaking in tobacco spit. Best not to think about it. Oh, hell yeah. You don't count that as strangers. Stranger, don't need your kind around here. Did you say need or need? There's the Jew. Well, anyway. Ask about the guy washing dishes. What's with the guy washing dishes? That muffin lover ran up a tab he couldn't pay off. So now he gets to wash dishes. Some of them dishes I've been saving for just such an occasion. How much does he owe? $150? I'll pay it. You're even dumber than I assume, but whatever. You can tell him he's free yourself. Alrighty. Ask. The sign on that ain't got no darts. Dang it. Tell him he's free. Hey, I paid off your tab. You're free. Huh? What'd you do a thing like that for? I was just feeling charitable, I guess. Well, thanks, but I don't know how to do but I don't know how to do pretty much nothing except washing dishes. Nothing at all? Well, I can also wash clothes, and I can play the washboard. That's pretty much it, though. Send him to dirt water. Well, there's plenty of job opportunities opening up in Dirtwater. Why don't you try your luck out there? Well, alright, it's worth a shot. Thanks, pal. Leaves with a wave and the bartender replaces the sign on the wall. Dishwasher wanted. Ah. Dunwich Crouton, 1848 to 1862. Croissant Le Breton, 1860 to 1886. Graves past here are all too old to still be legible. Patch of pepperoni mold growing out of this grave. Bunkhouse. Oof, this would be a drafty place to sleep. On the one hand, it's a modern convenience. On the other hand, it's got zero privacy. Flush it just for fun. These beds must have been for the tenants who drew the short straws. There's some water and a few miscellaneous toiletries provided. Wash up. Not much better. This guy seems very focused on his beer growing. Howdy. You, Reginald? Who the Bacchussia are you? I think that's how it's pronounced? Probably not. Name's Doc Earp. The mayor's got me investigating some missing mail. Said you could give me a line on where to start looking. Oh. Yeah, alright. I gave up being a mailman a couple years ago, but I doubt they've changed the system much. All the mail headed here used to go through a way station just southwest of you. I'll mark it on your map. Thanks. This guy's just chilling by the fire. It must not be a very good fire. Howdy, stranger. I'm Hobart Buppert. You're what? Oh, I mean, hi, Hobart. I'm Doc Earp. You seem like a traveling sort. Mind doing a fellow a favor? Favor. Thing is, my only dream in life is to see an owl skeleton. That's quite a dream. I've heard they've got one at the petting cemetery, but... The what? Petting cemetery. Is that what it sounds like? Exactly what it sounds like. See, I ain't got the meat for a ticket. You want a loan? Nah, I got no prospects of paying it back. But I got a camera, and I figured if you went to the cemetery, you'd take a picture of their owl skeleton and bring it back to me. Sure, I'll do that. Great, thanks a bundle. You got an item. Owl camera. Owl, K. Owl be back. Owl. All is not well with this well. You discover what is either an open grave or a very deep and rectangular pothole. Jump in? Well, if it's a pothole, it must have been here a very long time because you found the remains of an antique traffic accident. Hi, I'm Doc Earp. Any mail for me? Yes, actually. Package came for you. Here you are. Package from Rufus. Well, I'd like to send a postcard. Alrighty, let's have it. You write a quick note to Rufus letting him know what you've been up to and that you're okay. That'll be... Oh, it's one of them prepaid ones. That'll be 0 meat then. Thanks. Here, bro, I thought you might be able to use this. You got a portable arcane oven. Oh, what a great kid. Jeez, you really miss that kid, and you miss your parents. You get all nostalgic just thinking about it. Nostalgia mode unlocked in options menu. Remember how great things used to be? your transponder starts making that bleeping noise, that means you're either treasure or monster, and who can resist that gamble? Not you, at least not in this encounter. Anyway, your involuntary risk-taking is rewarded when you find a high-tech crate. Sadly, it is locked. Leave it be. Do I have to have it equipped? Howdy, welcome to Gorman Lancaster's one and only Petting Cemetery. It's educational and entertaintional, and only $5 for me for a lifetime pass. Petting Cemetery? That's right, a wide variety of guaranteed genuine animal skeletons, and you're free to touch them to your heart's content. Well, with your hands, that is. No writing. Can I feed them? You can try! Neat. Interest you in a membership, fella? Pay. I suppose so. Wonderful. Just hold still for a second while I memorize your face. Okay, go right on in, and thanks for your patronage. What do you say, Alice? Alice is frowning at her research notes. Uh-oh. What's up? Is there another cemetery in the area we need to check out? Yeah, you might say that. Definitely there's a cemetery-ish thing, and definitely we need to check it out. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. What do you think we should do next? This is an owl skeleton. If you want to know how many fireballs it takes to get to the center of an enemy skeleton, just ask an owl. Take a picture. Click in a flash to take a photo for Hobart Bupper. Black says it's a buffalo skeleton, but there's nothing there. You're buffaloed by this fact. This is the skeleton of a desert tortoise. It's currently in very slightly less of a hurry to get places than when it was alive. Pet it to increase your armor for the rest of the day. You gently stroke the former animal's skull. Boon of the tortoise. Black says it's a pack rat skeleton, but there's nothing there. Nuts. This is the skeleton of a jackrabbit. In a pinch, the jackrabbit can help you change a wheel on your wagon. Black says it's a desert ape skeleton, but there's nothing here, and also you're pretty sure there's no such thing as a desert ape. This is a bobcat skeleton. Bobcats are known for their ferocity and the weird high-pitched noises they make when telling jokes. Oh, Bobcat Goldthwait reference. This is a hawk skeleton. Hawks resent being mistaken for falcons and will shoot you if you do it too many times. The buffalo file. Buffalo. Buffalo. Covered with a bunch of weird cards. Take a look at one. Abominable duck. Disgusting. Bloody spider. Gross. Duck-sized amoeba. Blech. Duck-sized skull. Weird. Hellish centaur. Disgusting. Abyssal stalker. Disgusting. Oozing organs. Okay, that's enough. The vat room. Covered in big beakers. Take one. You got an item. Oversized chemical beaker. Blood, milk, liquor, and lemonade. Top the slab, there's a buffalo-shaped indentation with a buffalo skull-shaped indentation where the normal human skull-shaped indentation should be. That's a good thing to keep in mind if you end up in possession of the bones necessary to fill in the keep the slab alone. The bars and see hundreds of buffalo humans. Skeleton hybrids walking around. Free here, free to sell. These are hanging right next to the door. Let's matter for one if they all look pretty angry. Do it. close. You put those buffalo soldiers out of their misery. Ugh. Some of them hadn't really finished decomposing. These shelves are filled with hundreds of crates, each full of buffalo and human bones, carefully sorted. You don't really have anything specific you want to do with human or buffalo bones right now, though. While you appreciate how organized these guys are, there's not really anything here for you. This is clearly the good toilet. Flush it! Yay! Little wood container filled with reading material. Look through and find one book relative to your interests. Advanced Beancraft Volume 60. Clearly the bad toilet. Great Northern Blizzard. Study the bean dessert recipes and practice conjuring up various configurations of frozen beans. Unfortunately, at some point the book got completely covered in a snowdrift, and now it's all soggy and ruined. Aww. Bones rule. An austere plot. Spartan pie. It's a decent-sized wardrobe. Settle in amongst the thick black robes. Pretty comfortable. But you wait and wait. You finally hear some noises outside as a couple of cultists pass through on their way from somewhere to somewhere else. You don't catch much of what they say, but what you do hear is, Doug, remember this. Ichor before blood. Bad idea, bud. I'm not your bud. Okay, you wait a while longer and the cultists pass through again. This time you overhear something different. No, Doug, that's not it at all. Remember, blood before milk is obsolete as the word filth. That's kind of a stretch. Wait some more. You wait a while longer. Milk after ichor might as well try to reanimate wicker. That's too long to remember. It's milk before blood. Ritual is good. Doug, why can't you get this? Probably because it doesn't rhyme. Doug, it's blood after ichor. Fail and turn to liquor. That doesn't sound half bad at this point. You guys are jerks. Okay, so blood has to go after milk. Ichor goes after blood. So milk, blood, ichor. You hear a lot of activity down that corridor, chanting, shuffling of robes, clattering of bones. Scary stuff. You really shouldn't go down there. Go elsewhere. Skull? Yeah. The wicked-looking leather-bound tome on this pedestal. Take it. Okay. Oh. Liquid in the beaker begins to bubble. Steam rises from the beaker as the reaction intensifies. The intensity of the reaction fuses the ichor spigot into a useless mass of metal. How will it end? Boiling subsides and what's left in the beaker is... Yes? Tell me! When the smoke clears, you're left with a beaker full of a liquid that is unmistakably buffalo reanimated fluid. It's unmistakable because somehow the reaction caused the beaker to become labeled. The label says there's buffalo reanimating fluid. That's just science. reaction caused the lemonade faucet to get clogged up. Before you decide what stuff in the beaker is, there's a saying in the scientific community: lemonade in, lemonade out. Definitely prove that. Life did give me lemons. Liquid in the... Okay. Unsurprisingly, after the reaction concludes, you're left with a big beaker full of milk. You don't like milk very much, so you pour it down the floor drain and discard the beaker. That was pretty anticlimactic. Very sloppy cot. Off the trail's shoulder, you see some ancient petroglyphs carved into a rock. Translate them. They seem to translate to my sixth is the sixth of demonic opposing. Intriguing. Fort Memoriam. Yep, I was right. Fort full of nerds! Looks like they're planning some sort of military operation, though. Nah, only in their imaginations. That's just a complicated board game. Huh? Checkers not good enough these days? The arguments you get into over checkers are not nearly elaborate enough for these guys. Maybe we can show them a thing or two. Shelf is laden with candy. Help yourself. Shelf is stuffed full of rule books for the weird game those nerds are playing. Pour over the rules until you understand them perfectly enough to realize that they're for an entirely different game than these guys are actually playing. Oh well, at least you learned something useful. As you're about to walk away from the shelf, you notice a book that definitely doesn't belong here. Dangerously Advanced Next Mix. This pile of trash smells very, very bad. You power through the stench and find a few non-garbage items in the pile. Hurts fit hands. Oh boy. The liquid in this spittoon is bright yellow. I feel like that's all that needs to be said about it. Look closer. I'll never understand you. Alright, well. You crouch down next to the spittoon. From the nauseatingly sweet stench coming off of it, it appears that these nerds haven't been using it as a makeshift urinal, as you may have suspected. But rather, they're using bright yellow lemon lime soda flavored chewing tobacco. Unless? Well, another possibility is that they have been using it as a urinal, and they're all extremely diabetic. Which, now I think about it, is a real possibility. In fact, it is probable that both these things are true. Search it. Really? You're just gonna put your hand in the nerd's piss and or spit bucket? You're just gonna dive right in there, huh? Just gonna splish splash around in that sticky yellow broth of spit and pee with no restraint whatsoever? I sure am. With a fanfare of sad trombones and a choir of angels retching, the sword rises out of the spittoon, held aloft by a wet, bedraggled, and miserable-looking woman's arm. Since you're already kneeling, the arm wastes no time before tapping you on both shoulders with the sword, splashing your clothes with yellow slime, and officially declaring you Doc Earp, King of Filth. Congratulations. The sword clatters on the floor as the hand drops it with a shudder and withdraws into the spittoon. You got Blexcalibur. Long live the king. The stove is sad and neglected. Most of the mess hall stuff has been moved outside. This guy doesn't seem interested in the game. He's just noodling around on his guitar. Hey, what's up? Not into the game? Nah, I mean, I like games. That's why I hang out with these guys. But I've gotten bored of these strategy war games. I want something different. Like what? Well, I like playing the guitar, so I was thinking some kind of guitar game where you pretend you're in a band and you have to hit the right chords. It sounds hard if you don't already know how to play guitar. Yeah, I thought of making like a real simplified version of a guitar. Then it wouldn't be much fun for me. I have an idea. Instead of pretending to play in a band, why don't you join an actual band and play guitar for real? You know a place for talent? I'll put my guitar skills to actual use. It's not a bad idea. Okay, cool. It's the Jewel Saloon in Dirtwater. Tell them I sent you. Thanks a bunch. I'll head out right now. Godspeed, Guitar Man. This guy's excitedly and repeatedly describing his favorite kinetoscope reel. Hi, I'm Doc. Howdy, I'm Ernie. How's the game going? Pretty good. We're on a real winning streak. If we'd been in charge of the army when the real war happened, things might have gone a lot differently. Probably the real war was a lot more unbalanced in terms of unit allotments. Good point. What's this kinetoscope reel you're talking about? Oh man, you haven't seen the Dixon experimental sound film yet? It's amazing. What's it about? Well, there's two guys dancing while a third guy plays a violin into a huge cone. You can actually hear the violin. It's so great. And then a fourth guy walks in. What does he do? Nothing. That's when it ends. Sounds pretty avant-garde. Mom made Rufus stop drinking that brand of soda after he didn't sleep for 4 days and started yammering about putting our cat in a box to see if it was alive or not. Hi, I'm Doc. Hi, I'm Buddy. So how do you like this game? Pretty good. I prefer the science fiction version, though. What's that like? It's real interesting. It has vehicles that move without horses and guns that fire more than once before reloading. Whoa, that sounds really imba. How'd you get into this? I was in the actual war, made it out with only a few scars and a limp. Fortunately, on account of I spent the whole thing hiding in a cave, when I heard about reenactments I signed up to find out what I missed. This is probably not a whole lot like what you missed. Yeah, better snacks for one. This guy's eating chips like they're going out of style. Wait, he's a nerd. Nerds don't care about what's in style. Hi, I'm Doc. Hi. Hiya, I'm Jeff. You like this game? Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm working on some rule mods for naval combat, so we can do older wars, though, like conquistadors and Vikings and stuff. Conquistadors versus Vikings would be pretty cool. Man, I know, right? How'd you get into this? Well, I have a lot of time to read at my job, and mostly I read a lot of history. When I saw a flyer for this historical reenactment thing, I thought it sounded interesting. They'd already quit doing real reenactments by the time I joined. This is pretty good, too. Painting the figurines gives me something else to do at work. Take your lead. This table is covered with little toy soldiers and little toy cows and weird dice. Not many people would walk around in a cow hat in this day and age. Not to imply they were ever in fashion or anything. Hi, I'm Doc. Hi. Hey, I'm Melvin. What's with the hat? We're doing historical reenactments. Playing a tabletop war game. Well, okay, sure. But a historical one. Anyway, we only switched this after we quit doing real reenactments. Why'd you quit? It was too much exercise. Also, somebody kept refusing to lie down when he got killed. You missed. What's this game you're playing? Oh, you probably aren't familiar with this type of board game. It's a very specialized form of entertainment. Hold on one sec. What I mean is, you seem to be using Flintlock 4000 rules. My brother said you didn't have cows. Oh, well, yeah, we had to mod them in ourselves. Cool, huh? Can I play? Well, the rules are pretty complex. I don't think the others will want to stop and play a teaching game. I already know it. My brother used to bug me to play him all the time so he could test the strategies. And great, yeah, we're short a player on the cow side. Step up to the table and grab some dice. Alrighty. Guy keeps peering intently at the figures on the table and muttering about line of sight. Hi, I'm Doc. Hi, I'm Mike. You seem to be taking this game real seriously. Well, of course. You gotta play to win. Otherwise, what's the point? Having fun? Exactly. And winning is how you do that. You having line of sight issues? Yeah, they don't let me have my tape measure on the board when it isn't my turn anymore, so I have to eyeball it. Looks like you could get a hit on that front guy. He'd have partial cover, though. Yeah, I think you mean soft cover. Oh, you're playing 4th edition. Well, yeah. 3rd edition was a total kludge. Man, you and my brother would be bitter enemies. Which battle would you like to recreate? The Battle of Cow Ridge. prevail in the Battle of Courage. Boom! Battle of Medley, 1887. Well, you can't win them all. Ah. Boom. Blobbers battle. Okay, I fucked up. I got this. Early skirmish. Okay, yeah, I messed up. Haha, wow. Not what I'd call an effective strategy. Oh, whew. That's right. Wow, you're really good at this game. Getting good was the only way to keep my little brother from lording it over me all the time. I feel like we should give you some kind of prize. I've got some leftover guns from when I was gluing the figurines together. Want them? Sure, thanks. Got an item, a bunch of really small guns. Stop playing around. Transponder beeps, indicating an ordinary-looking copse of trees just over the next ridge. Check them. What's up, Doc? Alice looks at the map. There's a military cemetery near here. Territory's military cemetery? Hush, this is important. We're talking about a very large graveyard filled with skeletons and soldiers. Oh yeah, that could be bad. Yeah. Your L vibrato transponder begins beeping slowly and quietly. Deviating at a medium tempo and volume. This thing looks pretty tough and pretty attentive. Put an end to that crazy machine's centuries-long reign of terror. Reign of duty, I guess? It really was just minding it. It was really just minding its own business. The beeping from your transponder reaches a deafening volume. Whoa! El Vibrato Construction Facility. This machine is not switched on, but it has an empty coffee cup in it. The confounded contraption is dark and silent. The monolith is dark. Find an abandoned crate addressed to Fort Treason. I guess whoever's everyone in charge of it delivering it figured, well, screw those guys. Get up, crack open the crate's hard outer shell and cook sweet inner meat. Except it isn't meat, it's items. Sorry that an ooh, hey, what's this? Sorry that analogy wasn't very good. Postal Way Station. It says Postal Service property. No trespassing. Trespass. You don't even want to know what bureaucratic processes were involved in the placement of this outhouse. Big map of the whole region with lots of confusing little annotations on it. This cabinet is full of maps, but you have no idea what any of them mean. Maybe you could ask about it at the post office in Dirtwater. Yeah, maybe. stack of old newspapers. Somebody's removed all the funnies, so there's literally no reason to care about them. Go through them. There's an article about how they had to change the name of Boot Hill Cemetery to Reboot Hill Cemetery because of all the skeletons that are coming back to life. Go through them. Nothing interesting. Oh wait, there's actually a postcard here that you could use. Oh hey, look, there's an undelivered letter beneath the sack. It's addressed to Roy Bean. You look at the address and jot it down on your map. You discover a new map location. Roy Bean's House of Justice and Jelly Beans. While you're in there, see if you can get them to stop bringing me knitting catalogs. Knitting catalogs? I must have it up on some damn fool list. Never knitted a day in my life. Weird. Let's head to the professor. Yeah. Good to see you again. Have you got those 5 piles of scrap yet? Yep, got them right here. He ambles over to a strange contraption in the corner of the room and begins to tinker. Great, let me just... Yep, okay. This'll do the trick. Let me just get this running, and then you'll be able to grab a keystone from it. Pick another 5 scrap for each one you need. Are you familiar with the Lost Dutch Oven Mine? Grim place, but that's where I found the chassis for that fabricator, wedged behind an unusual pile of rocks. It seems like a good place to start hunting. Check out Hellstrom Ranch. Wow, geez, I hope you're a veterinarian because this python you've encountered is sick. Take it to the gun show. Cured that sick python. In a way. You skin the python. It's tricky because it's mostly muscle. Hellstrom Ranch. Haystack and needle. They must have had a real barn burner of a party here. Oh, God. The only part of the shed that didn't burn was the part this horseshoe was attached to. Because it really is good luck. Ringing this will attract the attention of at least one infernal cow. Ring it! Oh, that's not a skeleton. Pulled some cows from their home dimension and mercilessly slaughtered them, you monster. Haha, just kidding, they're super evil. Oh wow, they do hit hard. Roy Bean's house. There's a goblin marching down the trail in a soldier's uniform, the pants of which have been seriously pinned up to account for the goblin's stubby little legs. Salutes when it sees you. Hello. Hello, what's up? I'm soldiering. Yes, I can seeing that. I didn't think there were any goblins in the military. What's your unit? What? Where are a uniform getting? From dead soldier, mans. So I'm soldier now. Not quite how that works. You give the goblin a salute and continue on your way. Roy Beans, House of Justice and Jelly Beans. Roy must prefer to perform his morning ablutions outdoors. Perform some of your own. Gussy up a bit. What's this even hooked up to? Flush it and see. Take that, toilet. Don't really see the attraction of jelly beans. Prefer licorice all sorts like my granny? I prefer lemon drops, but it'll be jawbreakers if you compare me to your granny again. There's a single yellow jelly bean in this case with a swine that says Paraguayan murder bee honey jelly bean. Very rare, 6,000 meat. What kind of lunatic would pay 6,000 meat for a single jelly bean? Not this kind, that's for sure. It's a spittoon, nothing special about it. Investigate it. As soon as you get near the spittoon, you can smell the overpoweringly sweet stench it exudes. Nauseatingly sweet, like the rotting corpse of a dead gummy bear. Look inside. Garish rainbow colors swirl together in congealing psychedelic madness. Is Roy using jelly beans as chewing tobacco? Yes. Yes, of course he is. Investigate further. We're talking about a bowl of jelly beans that have been sucked on, half chewed, and then spat into a brass bucket. Do you seriously want to put your hand in that spill of artificial covering and thickened saliva? It will probably never be cleaned again. Go for it. Look, I'm serious. You're about to permanently dye your hand with the swirling mishmash of all the worst colors in the spectrum. No one will ever have a tattoo that looks as gross or as stupid. Give it to me. Well, I tried. Don't ever say I didn't warn you. You plunge your hand into the spittoon and fish around for a while. Eventually, you pull out a really disgusting pistol and a really disgusting hand to shoot it with. Spittoon hand and default pistol. Yay! Spittoon hand. Your hand has been permanently stained by the rainbow color contents of a nasty spittoon. On the bright side, that hand will never suffer anything worse than that ever again. It'll probably make a "2" sound when you shoot it. Hell yeah. Oh, wait a second. Excalibur. This is a replica of King Arthur's sword. You know it's a replica because there's no way history would have allowed the original to be this comprehensively covered in tobacco spit. I'll keep this for now because of the mysticality. This lack of jelly beans is not for sale. Howdy there, pilgrim. Name's Roy Bean. Howdy, Roy. I'm Doc Earp. What do you do here? Well, when I first came to these parts, I was all about two things: dispensing justice and dispensing jelly beans. I was the biggest name in bounty hunting and candy selling anyone ever heard of. Gosh, what happened? Oh, nothing particularly tragic. Got old is all. Hung up my pistol for good. Points to the wall. Pointing at an empty hook on the wall. Over a spittoon. Oh, I got his gun. I still sell some jelly beans from time to time, but they're out of fashion. This whole place is just a jelly bean museum now. Seems like the sign out front isn't very accurate then. How do you mean? Well, if you aren't dispensing justice anymore, maybe you should just say museum. Guess you got a point. Found this letter addressed to you. The letter? Hand over the letter. He opens it, reads it, snorts derisively, and tosses it into the fireplace behind him. Thanks anyway. For a jelly bean museum, I sure don't see very many jelly beans. Huh. Bunch of crooks and shady characters stole them. All 3 jars. Suppose they think I'm a soft target now that I'm retired. Oh, that sucks. I'll help you get them back. Well, now, I certainly appreciate the assistance. Can't offer much in the way of reward, but I can tell you which way the first group of thieves went, if you happen out that direction. Okay, I'll go get them. Just Roy Bean's Jelly Bean Museum. Curious abandoned well. Your transponder beeps indicating spot on the horizon. Damned well, stop to investigate it. Transponder goes ape as you get closer to the old well. Attach a rope. Well roped well. Climb down. L vibrato chamber. Lifeless. Ooh. L vibrato chamber. Uno punches save. A bunch of paper cards on this table. They're full of holes. Single button on top of this machine. Press it. You press the button and the machine speaks. The voice says poo poo. 7 buttons appear on top of the platform. You look at the buttons. Press the first one. Terminal emits a harsh buzz. Oh boy. The voice says Ganilla. Second. Otata. Stasta. The screen says Hubuno Stakusum. There are no buttons, but there's a very thin slot underneath the screen. Put in a small punch card. You insert the card into the slot. The machine's screen springs into frenzied activity. You can't consciously make sense of what you're watching. But when it's over, you know things you didn't know before. You learn the vibrato word for clothing and central. Whoa, indeed. Insert the card into the slot. The machine screen springs to frenzied activity. Okay. Offline auditory power. Okay. South and maintenance. Disposal current bracelet. Footwear detected north. Weather garbage headwear. Gotta learn some more words, I guess. Spot a horse skeleton lying a few yards off the side of the trail. You tie Graham to a tree just out of sight of it. You know something's scaring her and investigate. Somehow its saddlebags are still intact. Maybe the big red plus signs supported on the sides of them add to the durability. Loot those bags. Any sign of that missing mail? Not yet. The mayor glances at the list of problems posted on the wall and paces around nervously. Do I actually have to go back to Dirtwater? Your L vibrator transponder starts making that bleeping noise that means either treasure or monsters nearby. Turns out to be a monster. Nuts. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have noticed you. Hey, I need some help tracking down some missing mail. How do you mean? A mail delivery went missing on the way to Breadwood, and I'm hunting it on behalf of their mayor. The local mail station has a bunch of route maps, but I don't know which one I need. Well, that information ain't exactly secret, but I ain't supposed to give it out either. A delivery going missing is bad news, though. I suppose it's alright just this once. Wait here a sec. Thanks. After a couple of minutes, she comes back with a sheet of notepaper. Okay, so each map has a code number on it, you see? Based on region and direction of travel. She explains how to work out the code you need and gives you a cheat sheet for reference. Thank her and leave. Open it. It looks like it's been there a while since weeds and or cactuses have grown up around it, depending on where you got this random event. You brush the weed/cactuses out of the way and help yourself to the randomly generated contents. Okay. Big map of the whole region with lots of confusing little annotations on it. Use the cheat sheet to find the route map that leads to Breadwood. Follow the map. Follow the map along the route to Breadwood. You find a suspicious looking house. Chuck's house. Investigate it. Something about this house makes you suspicious. You can't quite put your finger on it. The place looks perfectly normal after all, but you can't shake the feeling that there's something very wrong going on here. Maybe you're just being paranoid. Something's creepy about this place, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Too quiet? Yeah, maybe. Cellar door. Man, I bet it's all kinds of horror down there, like some kind of medieval torture dungeon. Approach the door hesitantly. You could be getting yourself in a real bad situation. Knock. You knock on the door. A voice inside calls out, "Come in, it's open." It's always open. The door creaks open and you step inside the house. The interior is an absolute nightmare. The walls are covered with rusty chains and hooks, as well as a variety of wicked-looking knives and shears. A man of indeterminate age and slightly hunched posture grins widely as you enter, his eyes gleaming. He's standing near a large puddle of blood on the floor. Hello, my name is Chuck. Welcome to my little blood and breakfast. Your what? Blood and breakfast. Oh, sorry, I have a lisp. A lisp? Yeah, it makes lewd sound like good. It may... a bed and breakfast. I see. People also tell me I emphasize words oddly, but I don't get that at all. Uh-huh. There's a lot of blood on the floor here. Ask Chuck about it. I can't help but notice you have a giant pool of blood on your floor. Blood? Oh, no. I can see why you might think that, as this is certainly rude like blood. This is tomato soup. Tomato soup? Yes, I spilled my lunch. Very clumsy of me. I was just getting started cleaning it up when you arrived. You see. Just kettle on the stove and it's still hot. A little pantry shelf with various teas and jars. Take a closer look. There's nothing very unusual, but you do notice 2 jars of tea leaves labeled Sleep, Time, and Earl Grey. There's a large collection of steel chains and hooks, as well as knives, shears, and other bladed implements. Everything is covered with rust, or possibly dried blood, or possibly both. Ask Chuck about them. Aha, you've noticed my collection. Yeah, it's dramatic. It all belonged to my father and his father before him. They were butchers. And you? I do a little bit, but not professionally. I broke with family tradition to run my little blood breakfast. Sorry, that's private. That's my blood room. Your what? My blood room. My bedroom. Oh, right. Gotcha. Chuck is staring at you. You notice that his left eye has a tendency to drift sideways as he stares, and then reset when he blinks, which is not often enough. Watch him. Excuse me. Yes, how can I help you? You said you're running a bed and breakfast here? Yes, that's what I slid, yes. Has a mailman been by recently? Why, yes. My last guest was a mailman. Such a nice fellow. It's a shame he's no longer with us. I hope you just mean that he left. I like to think he'll always be here. In spirit. Have a look at the guest room. It's in the cellar, but I'm afraid it's unavailable at the moment. My last guest is only just checked out, and I still need to clean up the mess. Oh, what's on the menu? Homemade sausages and tomato soup. I also have a special tea blend that's a real knockout. What kind of sausages? Long pork sausages, my grandfather's own recipe. Did you just say long pork? That's right, I make them longer than regular pork sausages. They're more filling that way. This is puzzling and uncomfortable for many different reasons. You mentioned a special tea blend? Yes, a special herbal blend that puts my guests right to sleep. It's very effective. Huh. Locked. But is it locked to keep you out or to keep something in? Whoa, it's a Plotco lock. Those things are unpickable. It's unmarked. There's no name on it or anything. It's the front door of Truck's blood. I mean, bed and breakfast. Switch the labels. You surreptitiously swap the labels. Chuck doesn't seem to have noticed. Oh, that reminds me, I left the kettle on. The water should be boiled by now. Would you care for a cup of tea? No thanks, I'm good. Chuck pours himself a cup of tea and sips at it while staring at you. After a bit, he starts to look drowsy. Oh my, I'm coming over all sleepy. Perhaps I should get my blood down for a few minutes. It has been a long day. Please excuse me. Sure. The door leads to Chuck's blood room, or perhaps bedroom. Chuck's creaky bedroom. Going through Chuck's drawer seems like maybe not a good idea. There's a key on top of the dresser, though. Yoink. Yoink indeed. Chuck's sleeping pretty soundly, but should be careful not to wake him anyway. You unlock the door and steel yourself for what you're about to see. Doesn't look nearly as horrific down here as you expected, unless you're particularly horrified by an unmade bed. Hey, this looks like the missing bag of mail. You sling the sack of mail over your shoulder. Neither rain nor sleet nor super creepy B&B proprietors. Breadwood's missing mail. Looks up by previous guests. Let's see if there's anything good. Ooh, locks and how to pick them. An advanced bean craft. Blank postcard. As you're climbing out of the cellar, a mailman approaches you. Oh man, thank goodness you found my mail. This mailbag is yours? Yeah, I've been stressed out lately, so I took a day off and rented a room here for a sort of mini vacation. Chuck's a great guy. A little weird, I guess, but real personable. His cooking is great. Tomato soup and those great big sausages. His tea did wonders for my insomnia, too. It did seem pretty effective. Anyway, I forgot my mailbag and wasn't sure where I left it, so I've been retracing my steps for ages. Thanks for finding it. Sure, no problem. Here you go. The mailman walks away with the bag over his shoulder, whistling a cheerful tune. Well, that's sorted, I guess. You pass by two skeletons who were facing each other with their arms akimbo in the traditional shootout stare-down pose. When you stop to watch what happens, They both turn to look at you. Whoops. Fight them. You signed that missing mail? Yep. Found the missing mailman, too. He's on his way to deliver it. Excellent. I hope there's a new issue of Mayor's Monthly. Sounds informative. The mayor glanced at the list of promise posts on the wall and paced around nervously. Okay. Skeleton raids. There's a military cemetery not far from here, and I figure something must have happened to the caretaker because military skeletons keep wandering out this way and causing a ruckus. Alright, I'll check it out. What an embarrassing typo. Military cemetery. There's a shovel here. It's the caretaker's shanty. Poke around in the shed. The caretaker appears to have been shirking his duties for quite a while, judging by the dust and cobwebs. Looks like the mayor was right about him having wandered off. Guess you're gonna have to fetch him back here to do his job. Look at the tools. Well, tools, singular. There's a shovel here. Since you already have a shovel, you leave it alone. Not like you'd be able to dig twice as fast. Under the chair. Like all chairs owned by one guy, it has years worth of lint and food crumbs underneath it. Scope out the desk. It's covered with old paint-spattered newspapers and features a large collection of tiny jars of paint, as well as a jar of fine-tip brushes, a can of thinner, and a stack of history books. Check out the flyers tacked to the wall. Find a flyer for a military reenactment enthusiast society. Apparently, they meet regularly at Fort Memorial. Maybe that's where the caretaker went. The eternal flame. Caution, do not touch eternal flame. The goblin is roasting a weenie over the eternal flame. I am pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. No, it's good fire, not to wasting it. The goblin not to play with fire. At least not special commemorative fire. Not while you're around. Flames over that way are all short-lived and uninteresting. I hope you didn't invest in a hedge fund, because these are now just a pointy, worthless mess. Beyond this gate stands countless rows and columns of tombstones. Well, they're not actually countless. I've counted them. There are 999 of them. You can visit an individual plot by number if you like. Visit a 327. You approach Brewery Sergeant Major Verd Berry, 420th Infantry Division. Fight. Let's see what happens. First Lieutenant Seth Whitney Jr., 69 Innuendo Division. Dig it up. Let's try. Plot 420 is completely overgrown with mushrooms. You root around the loose shroomage and find a book. Coincidentally, it's a book about mushrooms. You got an item. My ecology, your ecology. Next to that tombstone, you find a pedestal with a leather-bound book on top of it. Looks evil. You better grab it before somebody else does. Oh, I guess that thing I said was a book was actually just a book-shaped rock wrapped in leather. My mistake. Stop looting graves. Master the art of microscopic bean conjuration and fill your bloodstream with restorative proteins. Unfortunately, you get so distracted by your newfound vigor that you misplace the book. The Madness Mall Mine. You notice a black spot at the base of the mountain to the east. You feel compelled to go investigate. Not now. Are you the cemetery caretaker? Nope, I am a dedicated unemployed layabout. And where do you get the money to buy expensive wargaming figurines? Wargaming miniatures. Griff. Are you the cemetery caretaker? Not me, I'm an emergency telegraph operator. Does that mean you should be at your listening post? It's alright, I have my portable. He takes a telegraph key out of his pocket to show you. Are you the cemetery caretaker? Yeah, that's me. Did one of the other guys tell you? I try to keep it hush because people assume you're a weirdo if you work in a graveyard. I'm actually here to tell you to get back to work because skeletons are wandering out of the place and causing trouble for the neighbors. Oh, nuts. Alright, well look, I'm on a real winning streak here. I'll go back once it's over, okay? Looks like I broke your winning streak. Yeah, dang it. I guess you did. GG. Hey guys, I gotta get back to work. I'll catch you next week. Other guys reply with a chorus of "see us" as he leaves. Ah! A shirtless man in tight, stretchy pants charges out at you out of nowhere. No more mushrooms, no more yogurt, no more exploring my inner consciousness while running in place. I'm gonna kill something, kill it and eat it. Holy jeez. Fight him. Knock the guy unconscious and take his pants on the assumption the constriction is probably squeezing all the blood out of his legs and overloading his brain. Jellybean continues his hideout. You approach the bandits seated around the fire. The meanest looking one stands up. You know who you think you are, stranger. You better turn yourself right around and head back the way you came. Unless you want to eat lead. Well, that's not very neighborly. Take a hike, neighbor. You fellas stole a jar of jelly beans from an old man. I am to have them back. Oh, is that right? And just how are you planning on doing that? With violence. Cinnamon blast. Oh no. Defeat. You lost, which isn't surprising considering there were 5 of them. Ow, ow, ow. Come on. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, the audio's delayed for me, but I'm right about at time. Victory. Fight and win, which is surprising because those guys were supposed to be real tough. Jelly bean thieves hideout inside. Filthy bedroll. Missing beans. Mint jelly beans. Managed meager fruit supply. They should have been robbing grocery stores. Cache of ill-gotten goods. Very nice bedroll. He must have stolen it from a hiker or something. Sealed crate. Dynamite. Off the trail shoulder. You see some ancient petroglyphs. Translate. Howdy, Doc. You recover that jar of jelly beans by any chance? Sure did. Well, I'll be. Thank you kindly, Doc. I won't ask for details, but I hope they were sufficiently grisly. Now, the second jar of jelly beans was stolen by a passel of them weird goblin fellows. Couldn't understand a word they were saying, but they were very insistent. Which way'd they go? Northwest, towards that huge old cactus folks call Old Granddad. Here, I'll mark it on your map, but you can't miss it. Discover new map location. Old Granddad. Run away. You sort out that trouble at the cemetery? Yep, caretaker's back on duty. Well, that's certainly good to hear. Those skeletons were a real nuisance. They sure have a way of getting under your skin. The mayor glanced at the list of problems posted on the wall. Okay. Soup shortage. Keep a municipal soup kitchen open to help those who are down on their luck, which is pretty much everybody around here. But we've run out of soup and need someone to go fetch some more from Soup Stock Load. Gives you a stack of bread bowls to carry the soup in. Okay. Okay, perfect fit pants. Pants are very tight to better show off your leg muscles. Sure. These boots are the finest foot care devices the medical technology of the 1890s has to offer. Just to say, they've got sheepskin insoles and they're coated with gauze to help soak up ankle blood. Yeah, let's go with orthopedic for now. All right. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you all for watching. I will be back tomorrow night with more West of Loathing. So, everyone have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.